We have discussed so far that there is one happiness which is pleasurable in the moment, but in the long run it doesn't amount to much. It doesn't lead to growth or fulfillment. This is the hedonic happiness. It's like running on a treadmill where you never truly move forward. And there's another kind of happiness that needs nothing from the outside. It comes from within. When you strive to grow and become a better person and align yourself with a higher purpose in your life. That's the eudaimonic happiness. We also discussed yesterday that adversities are a reality of life. They will come as you journey along. But the important point is, do you stop because of them, or do you make them into steps to climb ever upwards? So even in the face of adversities, we can learn to be positive. It's all a matter of perspective. When you start counting the blessings in your life, you search for the silver lining in the clouds. And then you see that every difficulty has an opportunity for your growth. Today, we are going to try and discuss how to be happy in relationships. On one side, relationships are of such vital importance in life. On the other side, they are also the cause of so much of distress. It is said man is a social animal, and how rightly it is. All of us love to be cared for and to care. We all wish to be understood and to understand, to love and to be loved. We wish to establish meaningful social relationships. Studies have been done of the blue zones in the world. These blue zones are those regions of the globe which have an exceptional percentage of centenarians who live beyond the age of 100. And sociologists have pondered that what is it amongst this particular group of people that led to their long lifespan. One of the most prominent such blue zones is in Okinawa, Japan, which has got an astonishing number of centenarians in their population. So after going through varieties of dietary habits, exercise habits, etc., sociologists realized that these people have very meaningful relationships that continue into old age. Their social values are such that they don't reject old people as unnecessary burdens of society, but respect them as assets of that community. So that continuity of meaningful relationships is the single one factor lending to the life expectancy of the Okinawans. So on one side, we wish to have wonderful, fulfilling connections. On the other side, if you do a survey, why are you unhappy, why are you unhappy, why are you unhappy? 50% of the people will say it's because of friction that is happening in my life in relationships. So let's try and understand today some wisdom and some tools. to make these relationships healthier? First of all, we'll try and figure out why do relationships go sour? Well, the one word is expectations. We have expectations that the other does not fulfill, or the other has expectations that you do not fulfill. Either way, those expectations lead to frustrations. The moment you create expectations, he should do this, he should not do that, you have already created the foundation for frustrations. And the problem is that our expectations are usually not realistic. Because life is not a fairy tale. And we grew up listening to fairy tales. There was this one girl, she had always read in fairy tales of how one princess found a prince who came riding on a white horse, he lifted her up, and they left from there to live happily ever after. That is how the fairy tales conclude. So she was always hoping that once Prince Charming would come into her life as well and lift her up and they would live happily ever after. However, after marriage she realized that he was no Prince Charming on a white horse. In fact, she had married the horse. That is the reality of life. So, these expectations are of a variety of kinds. The first kind of expectation is the other should be perfect. Why did you make this mistake? With ourselves, when we make mistakes, we are very lenient. We say, I did not know better what to do. We justify for ourselves. We rationalize, next time I'll do better, I'm learning right now. But for the others, it's the reverse. You should have known better. What about next time? You should have done correctly right now. We are strict with others and lenient with ourselves, expecting perfection from them. And the only person who's perfect is God. For the others, to err is human. If you are expecting your relative to be perfect, you have laid the ground for frustration. And the next expectation is that the other should think as I think. If I desire to see this channel, the other should also desire to see the same channel. Everybody has got their own mind with their own desires. So they all think differently, they also do differently. I have come across one couple whose relationship was strained to the point of divorce because the husband expected from the wife that the toothpaste should be pressed from the back so that it empties out in an aesthetic manner. And the wife did not have the head to give importance to it. In her absent-mindedness, she would press wherever. And the husband would keep on explaining to her that it did not somehow fit into her value system. And because he was not pressing the toothpaste in the proper place, the relationship had gotten strained. Now the reason was that she should do as I think is important to do. So, all these relationships, all these expectations that we create, and the next expectation is of reciprocation. I did so much for the other. Swamiji, I brought my relatives over from India to the USA, and they are so disloyal, they don't even come 5 times a week to my house. They don't value all that I did for them. So they must reciprocate. Another expectation. See, the human mind is so astonishing. Some people expect that the other should read my mind. The other person should know what desires I have. Now it was the wife's birthday and she was desiring that my husband will take me out for dinner today. And the husband, when he came back, he did give a gift and he did wish his wife greetings on her birthday. But he did not take her out for dinner. And that annoyed the wife. Why did he not know that I want to go out for dinner? So at the root of all our expectations is what? Our selfish nature. We want our happiness from the other person. And the other person wants their happiness from you. So it is a rasa kasi of self-interest. That is how relationships are. People may say that I love you for your sake. But the Vedas say nobody in this world loves you for your sake. They all love you for their sake. No vare patyu kamaya pati priyo bhavatyatmanastu kamaya pati priyo bhavati. No vare jaya kamaya jaya priya bhavatyatmanastu kamaya jaya priya bhavati. No vare putrana kamaya putra priya bhavatyatmanastu kamaya putra priya bhavati. No vare vittasya kamaya vittam priyam bhavatyatmanastu kamaya vittam priyam bhavati. Atma vare drishtavyo shrotavyo mantavyo nididhyasitavyo maitreyi. Yajnavalkya Rishi, in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, he explains the nature of this world to his wife Maitreyi. He says, Maitreyi, all worldly love is motivated by self-happiness. So when that self-interest gets threatened, then love evaporates. Consider, for example, there was a 3-year-old girl and she was walking with her mother in the mall. So as she holds her mother's hand and walks along, she gives a beaming smile to the left and then to the right. And you look at her and say, oh my, this cute little girl looks like an angel who has descended from the heavens, so pure. But then when they are at the checkout counter, a sudden event takes place. That 3-year-old girl sees a chocolate and she points to her mummy, Mummy, I want those Hershey's. If mummy fulfills her desires, she continues to be an angel. But just in case mummy refuses, no, my child, then the little angel becomes a little devil. She starts kicking her feet, tugging her mother's dress, screaming, pulling her hair, and creating such a halla-gulla. The mother thinks that, why in the world did I ever have a child? Now you will say, what happened to the little angel? She was so nice just few minutes ago. Well, it was all about self-interest. Mummy should fulfill my desires. If she does, she's a very good mummy. If she does not, she's a very bad mummy. Now for a 3-year-old, that is justified. The problem is we grow to 30 years and 60 years and still keep the same emotional immaturity into old age. That means the other should fulfill my interest. That is why the same wife to the husband, sometimes she looks nice, sometimes she looks bad. Sometimes she appears very nice, sometimes very bad, sometimes normal. One husband has got 5 decisions regarding his wife. What? Because when the intellect is convinced all my self-interest is fulfilled, then she looks very nice. And when the decision is it's not fulfilled but there's no harm, then she's seeming normal. And when the intellect decides my interest is getting harmed, then she becomes terrible. So this nature of ours is the cause of all the strain, all the expectations that we create. We even talk about selfless love. But behind that, the selfishness still remains. I have heard of one husband and wife who started fighting at night. The husbands and wife, do they fight at night? I don't know, I'm just guessing. But here, this husband and wife, they were fighting, and the fight continued, became very serious. Until at midnight, the husband said, enough is enough. I cannot tolerate this house any longer. I am going to go and sleep in the car. He stomped out of the house. He took the car into the driveway and he went to sleep in the car. Now the wife was so shocked by her husband's behavior, she started contemplating. But after half an hour, she had a change in mind. And she started realizing his good qualities and started thinking of how much he loves him. Until at 1 a.m. in the morning, she decided that she must do a loving gesture. So she went to the fridge, got her husband's favorite soda, opened the bottle, took the closed bottle and went out to the driveway and looked out there. The husband was snoring. So, she opened the door and put the soda bottle, thinking that at 6 a.m. when he wakes up, he will look and think, oh, my wife loves me so much, I also love her so much, and they will live happily ever after. Now, if it has been a fairy tale, that's exactly how it would have happened. But this was a real life scenario. So when the husband woke up at 6 a.m., he was still mad. And he looked at the soda bottle, it did not calm him down. He opened the bottle, he poured all the soda onto the road and smashed the bottle. And that annoyed the wife very much. And she came to meet Swamiji and said, Swamiji, how dare my husband behave like that when I loved him so selflessly? Then why did he not reciprocate? Look, if you wanted a reciprocation, then you were not loving selflessly. What did you expect him to do? The moment she heard expect, she realized that she was not being as selfless as she had thought she was being. Look, all of us have this selfishness in our nature, which is the root cause of expectations, and that is leading to all the strain. Now the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita tells us that look at the reality of this world. The fact is, everybody is different. Because everybody's mind is made from Maya, the material energy. And this Maya has 3 gunas. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Sattvam, Rajas, Tama iti guna prakriti sambhava. Nimadnanti mahabaho dehe dehinam abhyayam. Arjun, Sri Krishna says, all the souls in this world, they are tied by these 3 modes of material nature: goodness, passion and ignorance. The Shvetashvatar Upanishad states that Maya is tricolored, Tirangi. Ajamekam lohita shukla krishnam bhakti prajas vrijamanam sarupa ajo yeko Yushamano dushete jahatkena bhukta bhogam anonya There is white colored Maya, red colored Maya, and black colored Maya. Meaning Sattvagun, the mode of goodness, Rajagun, the mode of passion, Tamagun, the mode of ignorance. Maya has got three gunas. Our mind is made from Maya, it has also got these three gunas. And those gunas keep on changing in everyone. Sometimes Sattva dominates, then Rajas, then Tamas. The same person's temperament fluctuates through the day. Right now you are sitting and listening to Swamiji's lecture. It's a sattvic environment in the temple, right? So there is no anger, greed, desire in anyone. Everybody's mind is sattvic. But then, when you line up for the prasad, and somebody comes in front of you, now the gunas have changed, Rajaguna has come. I also had these hunger, desires, and this guy has come in front. And supposing the other guy says, are you blind? Why did you push me? Huh? What did you say? Now Tamagun comes. Anger is dominating. So one person's temperament fluctuates. That is why people say, Swamiji, sometimes I feel so inspired to do bhakti. Sometimes I think I will do it, but not today, tomorrow. And sometimes I think, I don't know, is there any God? These people are just talking to God, God, God. Look from where the same person went to where in one day itself. So these gunas are changing in the husband, they are changing in the wife, they are changing in the children. What is the consequence for the family? When the gunas are the same, then everything is harmonious. And the moment the gunas are different, the fight begins. Suppose the husband was dominated by Rajagun, the mode of passion. At the same time, the wife was under the influence of Sattvagun, the mode of goodness. So the wife proposed, my dear husband, there is one Swamiji who has come to the Hindu temple. Let's go and listen to his lecture. The Sattvagun and the husband and Rajagun. What lecture are you talking about? It will just riddle our head with so many theories. Let's go for the latest Bollywood picture. We get all kinds of entertainment. No. There was a little quarrel. One went for the lecture, the other went for the picture. When they came back at home, a lecture started there as well. You never listen to me. You always do your own thing. A picture got created at home. Why did this conflict take place? Because the Rajoguna of the husband collided with the Sattva guna of the wife, and there was a quarrel. Now, these kinds of quarrels are happening all the time. You say that, Swamiji, supposing they both have same gunas, then there will be peace. No, there will still not be peace. Because the quantity of the gunas is different. Let us say the husband also had Sattva gun, but 4 annas. And the wife had Sattva gun, but 12 annas. So both decided to come for Swamiji's lecture. And they went and sat down behind. But at 8 o'clock, the husband whispered to the wife, this guy is going on and on speaking, how long are we going to sit? Let's go home and see the TV serial, Kaun Banega Crorepati. And the wife said, you have seen enough TV serials. Sit, we will go after Aarti. They both had Sattva Guna, but the quantity was different, so the fight began again. Now, everybody in this world, their gunas keep on and on changing. What is the basis of our expectations? The other should think as I think. This is the cause of our tensions. Why does he not think like this? Why does she not think like this? And if you understand the nature of this world, you will give up those expectations. The tension will finish. So the fact is that in every relationship there is disharmony. Every relationship. If it is not visible, don't think that, this husband and wife, they're just so perfect. Or this brother and brother are completely harmonious. Or this two business partners have it so smooth. It is never like this in this world. It seems like it to you because internally there is khatapati going on. Externally there is patapati happening. People are adjusting. Like once the wife told the husband, they said, "Have you got your salary?" Husband said, "Yes." "Remember?" Husband said, "What?" "Arey, you have forgotten? Few days ago we had gone to Jain Sari Center and we saw that sari for $2,000. So, it should come today." Husband thought in his mind, "Dekho is chudail." She does not think, does money grow on trees? She wants me to buy a $2,000 sari for her. But then again he thought, if I say anything, she'll say, "I'm not going to cook your meal." So husband said, "Arey Baba, you have failed my plan. I was going to give you a surprise and you have already asked for it." See, internally he is thinking one thing, externally he is saying something else. And sometimes the husband came home and told the wife, "Today I have called 10 friends from my office. You must make badhiya nashta for all of them, halwa puri." And the wife had made plans to go to her friend's house. She started thinking, what does he think? I'm his servant, I have to make nashta for his 10 friends. But then she thought again, if I tell him anything, he'll say the sari is not going to come. So she said, "Let them come, I'll make such halwa puri, they'll remember all their life." So intelligent people, they adjust. But internally the khatapati keeps going on. And unintelligent people, internally also there is khatapati, externally also juta chappal. So, if you can keep the nature of this world in mind, you will not have tension. What is the cause of tension? Why does he not behave like this? Why does she not behave like that? And if you accept the Vedas, they say, "Bhai, everybody is going to be different." You give up your expectations. All tension will disappear. It is like that Akbar and Birbal story. They are so famous in India. Akbar was a Mohammedan ruler in medieval times, and he had this very wise minister called Birbal. So one day Birbal was walking to the palace when Akbar's servants, the royal servants, came with green paint and started painting him. And Birbal said, "What are you doing?" The servant said, "This is the instruction of the king, Badshah." Birbal said, "Give me few minutes, I'll go and resolve the matter with him." So Birbal came, his cheek had been painted green. He said, "Badshah, what kind of ajna have you given to your servants?" Akbar said, "My darling little daughter has a rash in her eye. And the doctor has said she must see only green." So Badshahs of the olden days, their wishes command. I have told them, paint everything green within 10 miles of this palace. Birbal said, "Huzur, you could have done it differently. Instead of painting everybody and everyone green, you could have just given green glasses to your daughter and she would see everything green." So the message is, we want the whole world to change, then we will be happy. And if we accept that the world is as it is, you change your expectations and you will be at peace. So, this is one piece of wisdom, and the second piece of wisdom is, don't judge others. Why? Because you don't know their story. We jump to conclusions without realizing the others may have valid reasons for behaving the way they are. I have heard of the story of one father whose son had an appendix burst. So an appendix burst requires immediate surgery. And he rushed him to the hospital, they admitted him in the emergency ward, they prepped him for the surgery, and the father was saying, hurry up. The medical staff said, the doctor is not here, wait, let him come. Where is he? Call him on emergency. So they kept on pinching him, and the doctor rushed in after an hour. And he said, okay, I have to go straight into the operation theatre. But the father vented upon him, how careless of you. Don't you know it was a matter of life and death? If you had been late by another half an hour, the story would be over. The doctor said, look, let me focus on the operation now. I'll speak to you later. The father said, it's easy to say that when it's somebody else's child. Nevertheless, the doctor conducted the surgery. After 3 hours, he came out. And he said, congratulations, it's been a success. The attendants will let you know what is to be done now. I'm going. He left. And the father asked the nurses that why is this doctor so arrogant? The nurses explained, he is not arrogant. His son died in a car accident yesterday, and today he was cremating him on the cremation ground. And on an emergency basis, we paged him to come here. So at the earliest possible, he rushed here. When he heard the doctor's side of the story, oh my God, I am so grateful to him for having put all his grief aside and come. His attitude changed completely. That is why the Bible has put it very well. Judge not, lest you be judged. When we judge others, we are playing God. It is better not to judge anyone. Why? Judgment is God's work, not ours. And the next point is, try to understand the other's perspective. We all want others to understand us. But there is great wisdom in trying to understand the other person. Why is this person saying what he or she is saying, doing what he or she is doing? Now, one child in grade 1, the teacher said to him, Beta, my child, the teacher said, how much, supposing I give you 2 mangoes and I give you 2 more mangoes. How many mangoes will you have? The teacher said, the student said, Madam, I will have 5 mangoes. The teacher said, let me explain to you again. I give you 1 plus 1, 2 mangoes. And 1 plus 1, 2 mangoes. Now you tell me how many mangoes you have. Again he said, Madam, I will have 5 mangoes. The teacher scratched her head. And she said, okay, I give you 2 strawberries, 1 plus 1. And I give you 2 strawberries, 1 plus 1. How many strawberries will you have? He said, Madam, I will have 4. Aha, you have got it now. Okay, now I give you 2 mangoes and 2 mangoes. How many will you have? Madam, I'll have 5 mangoes. The teacher said, this is too much. Can you explain yourself? The child said, Madam, in the morning my mummy gave me one mango which I am carrying in the bag. So you give me 2 plus 2, I have already got 1. I have 5. The teacher did not know the student's story. So likewise, everybody has their own story. You want them to understand you, but you should also try to understand them. And that will completely change the perspective. So we have covered a lot of ground. Now the most important thing in relationships. If you want relationships to work well, look on any relationship as a bank balance. In a bank balance, you make deposits and you have withdrawals. Now, if you don't make any deposits and you go to the cashier and present your check, the cashier will say, you are already in the overdraw mode, sorry, nothing. Likewise, in a relationship, what are deposits? The good gestures that you do. When you help the other person, when you try and understand the other person, when you sacrifice for the other person, when you forgive the other person, these are all deposits. When you give up your desire to fulfill the desire of the other, these are all deposits. And what are withdrawals? When you force the other to do against their desire, when you scold the other person, when you point out the other person's fault or mistake, when you ignore the other person, these are all withdrawals. So now, any relationship, like a bank account, it must be a healthy relationship. In every relationship, there have to be some withdrawals. The parents have to scold the child sometimes. But if they want that scolding to be received nicely, they must also keep making deposits. If they forget to make deposits and the child rebels, the parents become confused. Why is this child not receiving my good input nicely? Why? Because you ignored making deposits. Well, that is the fatal mistake that we do in relationships. We take them for granted. Everybody will respond. There was one husband and wife. They were newly married. So, as newly marrieds, after dinner they were taking a walk. And all of a sudden the husband caught his wife and pulled her aside very gently, very lovingly. The wife said, my dear husband, what had happened? Husband said, you know, darling, there was a puddle of dirty water in front. I didn't want you to get wet. Such a nice, chivalrous gesture. 5 years of marriage went by. And the husband and wife were again walking on the road. And the husband saw that puddle in front. This time he did not chivalrously pull his wife aside. He only announced, there's a puddle of water in front. Be careful. 10 more years went by. Now you can guess what happened. The husband and wife were walking and there was a puddle of water in front. And the husband burst upon the wife, are you blind? Can you not see you want to walk in the water? So we take relationships for granted and forget to make deposits. Then the relationship goes into overdraw mode and it gets strained. No husband, no wife need that their spouse should be with them 24 hours. No child needs that their parents should be with them 24 hours, but even 15 minutes of quality time is a very important deposit that counts a lot. And that much also people forget. Their social intelligence is not working. Whereas everybody will respond to deposits, to good gestures. You just look at somebody and smile, and the other person will also smile back. One old lady, in the morning, she got up and she opened her door. And the front neighbor's dog was standing on her doorstep with her newspaper in the mouth. The lady was so touched. Oh my! She ran to her kitchen, got a biscuit and offered that cookie to the dog. The dog got his deposit. Next morning, the old lady opened her door again. And the neighbor's dog had brought 8 newspapers from the neighborhood. See, a little gesture of love had counted for so much. So likewise, you must always keep on making deposits. As I was saying yesterday, for any relationship to remain harmonious, particularly husband-wife relationship, the deposits to withdrawal ratio should be 5:1 because of the negativity bias of our mind. Same with relationships between bosses and subordinates in any corporate environment. So this is a little bit of wisdom to sweeten our social interactions. Understand others, don't judge others. And the last point is, if somebody has made a mistake, forgive the mistake. Now if you keep on remembering that person did like this, like this, like this, your own mind will get poisoned by it. As someone said, that resentment is like drinking poison. Because we are resenting somebody's action. He did this to me, she did that to me. Very bad, this is all going on inside. But those thoughts are working like poison upon our heart. The resentment, bitterness is towards somebody else, but it's residing in our heart. And it is poisoning us. That is why the saying goes that resentment is like drinking poison and thinking that the other person should die. So the saintly nature is to forgive and to forget. There is no point in keeping grudges. Jagat Guru Sri Kripaluji Maharaj said, Bhuli hu dur bhavana kahu, ho na sapne hu pyare. Bhuli hu dur bhavana kahu, ho na sapne hu pyare. Ho na sapne hu pyare. He says, not even in your dreams, not even by mistake, ever keep resentment towards anyone, because it will dirty your heart. I will conclude this topic of relationships with one more story. One teacher got a pile of tomatoes, and asked the students that make a hate list, how many people you hate. And based on your hate list, how many people are there on your hate list, you come and get these potatoes. And the name of the person you hate, write it on each potato. and put it in your bag. And you are not to take that potato out of your bag for 1 week. So with great tamasic joy, mode of ignorance joy, those little children, they had prepared their hate list, wrote the names of the potatoes, put them in their bag. He carried them home, brought them to school. Even at home, the potatoes were in the bag. In school also, they were in the bag by their side. But then slowly the potatoes started rotting until the rancid smell had become pretty obnoxious. And by the end of the week, it was almost unbearable. So the teacher said, all right, now you can chuck them all out of the window. Well, the teacher explained that look how these potatoes were just fouling up your own experience. Likewise, when you keep hatred in your heart towards anyone, it just fills you with bitterness. It burns your blood. It destroys your health. It makes your mind impure and robs you of all joy. That is why on the spiritual path, this is so important, the ability to forgive. So with all this kind of wisdom, I hope that when we put it to practice, we will move ahead in our relationships. But the last point is, don't take relationships too seriously. Because ultimately, you will leave everybody behind and go away. These are all temporary connections. Like if you travel in an Indian train, people who go to India for the first time, I say if you want to experience India, you travel on the Indian railways. Because it's a world in itself. Now if you are traveling from Delhi to Mumbai, so 24 hours you are going to be on the train. The people have to do time pass. So they create great friendship on the train. Where are you going? I am going to Kota. Where are you going? I am going to Ratlam. If ever you come to Kota, you come to my house. If ever you come to Ratlam, you come to my house. We become good buddies. My wife has given pedas, you please eat. He says, I've got santras, you please eat. And they start boasting. He says, in Kota, I've got 4 bungalows. The other says, in Ratlam, I've got 5 factories. Because they know you'll never meet this guy again. I tell you, on Indian trains, I meet people. One guy said that in 1952 I won a gold medal, and I knew that India did not win any athletics gold medal in 1952. How did he win? And somebody says I'm the #1 Joshi of India, etc. They go on saying. They become bosom buddies. But when Kota comes, he is wrapping up his luggage. And the other says, what are you doing? We were having such a nice time together. You continue with me till Ratlam. Arey Baba, if you like my company, then you also get down in Kota because I've got work here. No. I've got work in Ratlam. Alright, then you continue to Ratlam and I have to get down in Kota because my ticket says Kota. If I continue to Ratlam, that ticket checker will come and arrest me. Everybody's ticket is different. You have received 90 years and 3 months. You have received 50 years and 4 months. You have received 20 years and 5 months. When the ticket is over, off they go. Even Abhimanyu, whose father was Arjun Gita Jnani and whose mama was Sri Krishna Swayam Bhagavan, that Abhimanyu died on the battlefield. And Arjun says, Sri Krishna, bring my child back. Sri Krishna says his ticket was still here. I can call him back, but he will not become alive again in that body. And Sri Krishna called Abhimanyu, a soul came. Arjun ran, Bida, Bida. Abhimanyu said, whom are you calling Bida, Bida? Your child was the body. I am the child of God. That relationship is now over. It was a temporary connection based on the body as long as the body lasted. And ultimately either your body or the other body finishes, the relationship is over. That is why this world is called Bhava Sangam. Bhava Sangam is a place where people gather for a little while and then disperse. 30 years ago, if you went to Rishikesh, you would see this scenario, not 30, 40 years ago. You would see this scenario that the lumberjacks, when they would cut the wood, they would not load it up in trucks and bring it down the mountainsides. They would just keep throwing it in the Ganga. And the log would keep sailing down with the current, and then they would gather it below. So all these logs are sailing in the river. Sometimes two logs, they join together. And now they seem to have such a relationship, they are going arm in arm. And because both of them have got fertile mud on their surface, sometimes a plant would start growing in between. Oh my God, the whole family is out here. But then those two logs would hit one boulder midstream, and one goes this way, one goes that way, never to meet again. That is what Shankaracharya has said. Kate kanta kaste putra sansaro yamativ vichitra kasyatvam kah kutaya tas tattvam chintaya manasi prata bhaj govindam bhaj govindam govindam bhaj gudamati. He says, oh soul, think, from where have you come? What is your purpose? Where are you going to go? Ponder over these questions deeply. Otherwise you will waste your life again just attaching your mind to husband, wife, son, daughter, father, mother, sister, brother, like you did in so many lifetimes. So realize these are temporary relationships. Your eternal relationship is with God. It's like waves rise in the ocean. You go and look in the ocean, so many waves rise. And sometimes the waves seem to travel together. Say, wow, these two waves have really got it made together. And then one finishes, the other also finishes. They arose from the ocean. Their relationship was both with the ocean. So likewise, God is such a relative that He accompanies us lifetime after lifetime. He doesn't leave us, He is sitting inside us. Krishna me namave hitvam atma namakhilatmanam. He is the Atma of our Atma. When we went into a dog's body, we are rotating in so many species of life, right? This is not our first life. So we have been in so many species of life. When we were in a dog's body, God accompanied us there also. Because there is different karmas between dogs. One dog is born in India, stray dog, and it keeps getting dandas on the streets. One dog is born in America. It eats dog biscuits and wears dog jackets and goes to dog hotels, dog restaurants, right? Murali Mathu said, next life I want to be a dog in America. Before I started coming to the USA, from India I had gone to Hong Kong to give a speech. So I had this habit of morning walk. I was walking by myself. And one Chinese lady was coming from the other side. And she had a pram, you know, like you have prams for children. I had seen prams in India also. But she was carrying her lap dog in the pram. It was first time I saw a dog in the pram. So I said, huh? So the dog was coming this way. I looked at the dog. The dog looked at me. Why are you getting surprised? So there's God who's sitting inside every living being, noting the karmas of the past, giving the results. Such a relative is Bhagavan. Plus, he is a selfless relative. He doesn't want anything from us. What? He doesn't need anything from us. He is perfect and complete. And yet, all he wants is for us to express our love to him. It's just like a little child tells the father, Papa, give me $10. The father says, why, beta? Give me. Why are you asking? Give me. Oh, there it is. The child goes to the 7-Eleven shop and gets some chocolates and comes back. Baba, it's your birthday. Here's a gift from my side. Happy birthday. Father is delighted. My child loves me so much. What did the child do? Use $10 worth of the father. The father could have just got himself. But in giving it back to his father, he expressed his love. Likewise, all we have, tan, man, dhan, body, mind, soul, all belongs to him. It's come from him. When we use it in his service, that is an expression of our love. So God is such a selfless relative, he wants to give to us divine gifts. But he can only give to us if we love him. And we need to express our love. That's all he needs us to do. There was once a beggar. Now listen to this story carefully. Little what? There was once a beggar who used to go around begging on the streets. If somebody gave something, he would be happy. If somebody did not, he would be so sad. And that beggar, one day, he saw the chariot of the King of Kings is coming. The beggar said, what? With my eyes I am seeing the King of Kings. I can't believe I have never been so lucky. He started dreaming, supposing the King of Kings comes my way and I'll see him from close. And the chariot actually turned in his direction and started coming closer and closer. And then came and right in front of him. He said, this is too good to be true. I must be dreaming. No, I'm not dreaming. So he said, now started like a Sheikh Chili. Suppose the King of Kings comes and asks me, beggar, what do you want? So he started preparing his wish list. I will ask for this brand of car, this size of house, and then I'll ask for a wife and 5 children, etc., etc. But actually the chariot stopped there. And the King of Kings came down. This story I'm telling you is from Gitanjali. It's an anthology of poems written by Rabindranath Tagore, for which he won the Nobel Prize, I believe, in 1913. So, the King of Kings came and stood right in front of the beggar. The beggar said, suddenly my destiny has all come good. He's going to say, beggar, what do you want? So he closed his eyes, let me revise my list. What did I want? BMW? No, I wanted Mercedes, etc. And he opened his eyes. And the King of Kings had put his hand there. Beggar, can you give me something? The beggar said, this is Ulti Ganga flowing. What in the world is this? The King of Kings is saying, can you give me something? His intellect failed him in the moment. But he put his hand in his beggar's gunny bag and he got one little grain of wheat. He put it in the hand of the King of Kings. And that King of Kings went back with it. And the beggar also returned totally confused. What was this? I reached the ocean of nectar and still I am thirsty. When he got home, he just happened to put his hand in the bag again and there was one grain of gold. Now he understood. Oh my God. That was the plan of the King of Kings. I gave one grain of wheat, I received one grain of gold. I missed my chance. If only I had done Sarva Samarpan today, complete surrender, everything would have become gold. So God doesn't need anything from us, but He wants our love. And we express our love through the act of service. Whether it is service with your words, or with your body, or your possessions, or your thoughts, it is in service that we express our love to Him. And how does He return it? With His spiritual treasures. He fills us with divine wisdom, with divine bliss, and with divine love. So we have our eternal relative. To love Him is the goal of our life. And you make the journey beautiful by keeping all your relationships harmonious. That is happiness in relationships, which we have discussed today. Tomorrow will be the last topic, happiness in the workplace. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai.